This week on Beacon Web News, Nexxus hits all the right steps at their first competition. Then, we check out African Night for an evening of fun festivities. And we say goodbye to Michael Obasohan in a BWN special. That's all coming up next on Beacon Web News. Episode of Beacon Web News. I'm Allie Teenel. Last Monday, students began submitting reports on Wi-Fi outages across campus. The outage has affected not only Wi-Fi, but also MCLA's heating network and Ethernet across campus. We have received unconfirmed reports that the root of the problem originated from a power supply in the townhouses. Extreme Networks is the company that the college receives internet from and is replacing the faulty power supply. However, as of now, no official word has been given on when the work will be completed. Last Friday, models hit the runway for African Night for an evening packed with food and fashion. BWN's Julia Teixeira was there to catch up on the festivities.
Inside a Venable Gym, MCLA hosted a night of culture with African Night. In a night filled with modeling, food, and performances, MCLA hosted African Night. The event, which was hosted by the Multicultural Center and Alana, showcased a clothing line from students. Nia Little, whose sister's clothing was featured in the show, talked about what inspired the clothing line.
So the theme of the show was the African diaspora. So she pretty much picked out traditional African cloth, and we went from there.
She would go on to talk about keeping the expectations high for next year's show.
Overall, I think it was really good. There's always the shows where you feel like you can, but every year I want to just go bigger and better.
MCLA students sound off on what they thought of the show.
It was exciting. It was such a new experience for me, and I had a great time modeling for this event that was very much needed in MCLA.
It was really fun. I had a great time. The food was really good, and the DJ was also, it was really good. It had a really good atmosphere.
It was fun. Had a good time. It was my first time modeling, so didn't know what to expect, but I enjoyed myself.
It felt great. It was an amazing pleasure to do this for my first time. It's my first African Night. It was awesome to just walk on the runway, modeling different clothes.
Hey, I think it was a great opportunity for us to be able to express our culture, and I feel like that's why we're at MCLA. It's all about expressing your culture.
Yeah, it's like a new thing for me. This is the first time me modeling. I liked it, and it's glad to see the culture growing larger and larger every day.
African Night has become a yearly tradition, so if you missed this year's event, make sure to catch it next year. And for Beacon Web News, I'm Julia Teixeira.
Thanks, Julia. Make sure to stop by the Campus Center Marketplace this Friday at 10 a.m. to see Miss Hall School on our campus. They're a college prep, boarding, and day high school located in Pittsfield. They work on improving leadership, academics, and future careers for young women. If you're pursuing a career in secondary education, this would be an excellent opportunity to expand your network. On Thursday, April 11th from 3 to 5 p.m., the Identity and Gender Resource Center will be hosting a Safe Zone workshop. This workshop aims to enhance and maintain environments that are safe and welcoming for all members of the LGBTQIA+ community. The workshop will take place in Murdoch 218. For more information, contact IGE Resource Center at mcla.edu. There was a mix of sadness and excitement in the air for MCLA students when they discovered that Michael Obasohan would become the trio academic counselor at Berkshire Community College. Currently serving as the Assistant Director of Diversity Programs in the Multicultural Resource Center, the college will bid this alum a fond farewell on April 12th. BWN Special Report looks to Giovanni Jujut for more on the story.
On April 12, Michael Obasohan will be leaving MCLA as Assistant Director of Diversity Programs to become the trio academic counselor for Berkshire Community College.
It was a hard decision. It really was. You know, I really want to grow in this profession, and, you know, there was a position that really focused on the same work that I'm doing now, the same population. So I'd be working with low income, first generation, and students with disabilities, and that is some experience that I wanted to gain under my belt.
Michael says he will miss the relationships he's made here.
It is really bittersweet because the students have been a big part of my career here at MCLA, and I've built relationships with so many different students, and each one is different in its own way. Like I joke with students in different ways on different subjects, so I know that it's going to be a hard hit for the students, especially for students that I've really have built a relationship with. Relationships that I gain there won't replace the relationships that I've had here. You know, MCLA would always hold a special place in my heart. My colleagues that I've worked with and the students will always have that special place in my heart.
His final day will be April 12th. I'm Giovanni Jujut for Beacon Web News.
Those looking to say goodbye and wish him well, you can join the reception on Thursday, April 11th from 12 to 1 p.m. in Murdoch 218. The Parlor Cafe has released its schedule for their April events. On the 13th, it's Hip Hop Night featuring local artists. The 18th is Rambling Poets, a literary open mic night. On the 19th, bands Immune Friction and Heavy Gaze will perform. Lastly, on the 20th is Hardcore Night featuring local bands Lift and Sinking. All events begin at 7 p.m. This past Saturday, Nexxus stepped up to the plate and danced in their first ever competition. BWN's Andrew Strout was there to watch them strike all the right moves.
This past Saturday, April 6th, MCLA's Nexxus Step Team hosted their first step competition. Step teams from Westfield State University and Brandeis University were invited to MCLA for the competition.
It was a lot of bringing a lot of culture in that maybe we won't see at MCLA every day with the new teams, and the audience was really they received it really well. They were very receptive, very attentive.
The three teams stepped their hardest, but only one team was able to win the competition. Top Flight Step Team from Westfield State University won the judges' vote with their schoolyard-inspired routine.
We had 3 months to plan this, basically. So October, we had to send out the invitations to the teams, and then we needed a response from them to know how many people were actually coming, and then we start the process of planning the whole thing.
I try to support Nexxus as much as I can. So when they did ask me to be a part of the show, I was so happy. I was more than happy to do it, so I just said yes right away.
Alongside the step teams, Dance Co. gave a short Latin-inspired dance choreographed by Emily Rezabala. MCLA's new African drumming group, named The Culture, also gave a performance in between acts.
It was very exciting, actually, because it's something that we've been wanting to do on campus for a very long time, even since the start of Nexxus. And to see the step team this year really pull it off, it was like a great feeling. It was amazing.
We need to make sure that everybody on the team is able to do a certain thing and just be precise and form together, so it's a lot of work coming up with all this stuff.
If you missed the Nexxus competition, Dance Co. is having their spring showcase at Mass MoCA this Saturday. For Beacon Web News, I'm Andrew Strout.
Thanks, Andrew. Looks like it was quite the show that evening. Demarisco's Wine Cellar will be hosting a wine and cheese tasting event with Cricket Creek Farm this Friday, April 12th from 6 to 8 p.m. The event will take place on 60 Roberts Drive, Suite 211 in North Adams. Tickets can be purchased through Eventbrite for $28, but be sure to hurry as there is limited seating. This is a fun opportunity to expand your palate and sample numerous wine and cheeses. On Saturday, April 13th at 1 p.m., come support our Trailblazers as the softball and baseball teams will be facing off against Mass Maritime at the Joseph Zavatero Complex. There's a new super in town, but he's not your typical hero. In this week's edition of Weary Weekly Entertainment, BWN's Robert Weary breaks down yet another comic-to-film adaptation, takes a look at a new Mass MoCA exhibit, and more. Rob, what's going on this weekend?
Well, Allie, there are several new movies coming out this week at the Movieplex in North Adams. One of these movies is Hellboy, based on the popular Dark Horse comic series. The Hellboy comic already has prior adaptations, but this version is a completely fresh take. In this version, the demon superhero, or anti-hero, depending on your view, must battle an undead sorceress who has the intention of destroying the world. Fans of the comic book can expect the same dark humor, as well as many action sequences. Hellboy is directed by Neil Marshall and stars David Harbour, Mila Jovovich, Ian McShane, and Daniel Day Kim. Hellboy opens on Thursday, April 11th. The first showing is at 7 p.m. Tickets for all movies cost $7 for students, except for $5 Tuesdays. As a reminder, if you're buying tickets at the Movieplex, bring your student ID in order to get the student discount. Hellboy is rated R for violence, gore, and language. Make sure to bring your regular ID in case the Movieplex does ID checks. Also opening this week is the comedy Little. This movie tells the story of a ruthless female boss who is especially rude to children. After a magic spell reverts her to her younger self, she must find a way to get back to normal, but also remember the joy of childhood. If you need a laugh, this movie is the one to watch. But it's also a movie with a good message. When we lose our inner self, childhood, we lose part of ourselves. Little is directed by Tina Gordon-Chisholm and stars Marzai Martin, Issa Rae, and Regina Hall. Little opens Friday, April 12th. Exact movie times have not been determined. Visit Movieplex's website for times. This movie is rated PG-13 for some suggestive comment. Next, there is a brand new art exhibit opening this week at Mass MoCA. Suffering from Realness explores the politics of representation and the ways in which, according to Mass MoCA's website, artists use the body to grasp at and recenter the aura of realness in an age of uncertainty. The main question that Suffering from Realness tries to answer is, how does art suffer in one of the most trying periods in history? This exhibit showcases the struggle that artists, especially minorities, face. Suffering from Realness opens Saturday, April 13th at 4 p.m. and will be marked with a procession of Requiem, a sculpture of a larger-than-life American eagle accompanied by parading musicians. Vincent Valdez and Adriana Corral, the two artists behind the creation of Requiem, will then discuss their work. All Mass MoCA art exhibits are free to the public. Lastly, Samus is returning to Mass MoCA after a successful performance in 2017. Samus is a Philadelphia-based rapper who is known for taking on several themes in her lyrics. She's just as likely to focus on her love of gaming as she is about identity politics. Samus is also an academic. She received both a bachelor's and master's degree from Cornell University and is currently completing a PhD. Clearly, Samus is a many-faceted artist. Samus will be performing on Saturday, April 13th at 8 p.m. in Club B10. Tickets are still readily available at the Mass MoCA website. Preferred tickets cost $40 and student tickets cost $15. Remember, you must purchase tickets on the Mass MoCA website. Tickets will not be sold at the door, and all tickets are non-refundable. That ends this week's edition of Weary Weekly Entertainment News. I'll be here every week discussing the many movies, plays, art exhibits, and more going on in North Adams and surrounding towns. Back over to you, Allie.
Thanks, Rob. The 27th Annual Community Day of Service will take place this Saturday, April 13th. This event is a way for members of the MCLA and North Adams community to volunteer their time to help give back. Check-in starts at 8:30 a.m. in Venable Gym. With any questions, contact Spencer Moser on Outlook. MCLA's Spring Concert is nearly here. Bryce Vine with Travis Thompson will grace the stage on April 15th in Venable Gym. Tickets will be sold at the door at 6 p.m. and cost $5. An MCLA ID is required at the time of purchase. BWN's Karen Canella sat down with the concert chair to learn all about the upcoming event.
Fabi Street caught up with us about this year's spring concert and how the artist Bryce Vine was chosen.
We did voting for the spring concert. We asked students who they wanted to see this year, and Bryce Vine was one of the nominations on the list. So basically, my booking agent that Zach goes through for the concert, he bought Bryce Vine's tour this year, so it worked out in my favor. So we got a really good deal. So we came with the headliner, which is Bryce, and the opener, which is Travis Thompson. and like stage and background and all that for a good price. So really worked out in our favor this year.
Shri gives us the rundown of what to expect on the day of the show.
Bryce Fine will be here around like 3 o'clock. Zach will be there at like 11 o'clock in Venable Gym, setting up, getting the stage up, barricades, all that kind of stuff, making sure that all the green rooms are labeled, having all of the food for them, food for the volunteers, have that all set to go. It's going to be an all-day process, so it's basically I have students working shifts from like 12 to like 7, and then like 7 to like midnight, because it's going to take a while to break down everything after the show.
For students looking to meet Bryce Vine, Shri explains how students will be chosen to come close to the artist.
If you did join concert committee, then you will get to meet Bryce Vine. We're going to have a meet and greet after a couple hours after he gets here before the show. Hopefully we'll do a Facebook Live for everybody so they can like see Bryce Vine.
Bryce Vine will be here on Monday. Tickets are sold in the marketplace or at the door. For Beacon Web News, I'm Karen Canella.
The Berkshire Mall is once again facing financial trouble. After a week of power outages and water problems, the mall was reopened on March 29th. The mall has had 3 separate owners since 2014, and the town of Lanesboro has recently issued tax bills for the 4th quarter of 2019. If the owner of the mall does not pay by mid-May, the town will seize control of the property. The relationship between students and administration has been a reoccurring topic on campus this semester. On this week's edition of Take Note, BWN's Andrew Belargin examines the sensitive balance in play.
This past weekend, we had the highest ever turnout for an Accepted Students Day, with 144 families visiting and getting a taste of what MCLA has to offer prospective students. It is encouraging, and I hope we made a positive impression for those students who are still deciding where they want to go for college. But for current MCLA students, I feel like I have seen a gradual erosion of our trust and positive views about the administration, a trend that has really been prevalent recently. The latest blow from a student perspective comes from the proposed $200 per overload credit that was approved by the Board of Trustees last week. Earlier this semester, there was widespread concern over the administration's lack of transparency in their decisions regarding the radio practicum course and the Women, Gender, and Sexual Studies minor. At this point, it is clear that we as students must be carefully attuned to the words and actions of the administration. It is important that the student body remain vigilant in pressing for information and transparency, and not accept Orwellian talking points like courses students sign up for never existed. With enrollment in decline and colleges hungry to attract new students, our voices are louder than ever before. They will eventually have to listen. We have a chance to make our voices heard. Recently, MCLA began asking students to take their What's Great and Not So Great About MCLA survey. It is imperative that you not only take the survey, but potentially make direct, in-person contact about having taken it can help make sure that the school listens to our opinions and makes steps to correct areas that we are not happy with. Change simply can't be made from the sidelines. It's time to get our heads in the game. The noise we make now will only help tomorrow's MCLA students have better experiences here with an open and responsive administration that truly listens. Thank you, and make sure to view Beacon Web News next week for another edition of Take Note.
Thanks, Andrew. Interested in checking out the Dance Co show? BWN's Karen Cannell is back with the details.
MCLA's dance company will be having their annual spring concert show in Mass Mocha at 8 p.m. this Friday. The show will be featuring various different styles of dancing, including hip-hop, contemporary, and Latin pieces. Guest performers like the Nexxus Club, the Allegrettos, and dance company Disfunk will also make an appearance. Dancers have been preparing for this show since January and are excited to show audiences their moves. Cara Fusco, the treasurer and choreographer of the company, expresses her excitement for the show, telling us, "We're also excited about the show this spring. DanceCo has been working so hard this past semester to put on an amazing show for everyone. Tickets are now on sale at massmocha.org, or you can come to the marketplace to purchase your ticket there at the dance company table. Students are free, so make sure to get your tickets fast." For Beacon Web News, I'm Karen Canella.
Come laugh away your semester stress on April 17th with comedian Sammy Obaid. Hosted by the Student Activities Council, this show starts at 7 p.m. in Murdoch 218. The event is free and open to all MCLA students. There was quite the agenda at this week's City Council, from updates on parking options for the Holden Street condominium owners to possible changes for their own meeting times. BWN's City Council correspondent Shankwell Dennis is live in the studio.
After the council received the Traffic Commission's report regarding possible improved options for Holding Street condominium owners, they had much to discuss before coming to a decision on a motion. Councilor Rebecca Cohen rescinded her motion to submit a communication because she said the council needs to see a full report before moving forward with the decision, while Councilor Benjamin Lamb believes that the language of the report is the main problem and what needs to be fixed. This led to him proposing a motion to postpone this item until April 23rd. Councilor Eric Buddington then amended this motion to add a formal request of the report of Holden Street parking from the chair of the Traffic Commission. The amendment and postponement were unanimous. Councilor Wayne Wilkinson proposed to amend the meeting time for City Council from 7:30 to 6:30. The amendment was rejected after some discussion in which some of the councilors said that the proposed earlier time would reduce their time spent with families and that they had made arrangements when joining City Council to come to meetings at 7:30. Councilor Buddington said he supports an earlier start time as it would make it easier for the public to attend City Council meetings. The vote to change the time did not pass, and the meeting time continues to be 7:30. The all-night parking ban that is in effect for winter has officially been lifted earlier than expected. Mayor Tom Bernard did the same thing last year with the support of the council. Councilor President Keith Bona jokingly replied that last year when this happened, it ended up snowing the following day. Councilor Marie Harpin commended Mayor Bernard for doing this, seeing that it would help people who struggle to find parking when the ban is in effect. For Beacon Web News, I'm Shankwell Dennis.
What's past is prologue. Come see York's production of William Shakespeare's The Tempest. The first show is Thursday, April 11th at 7 p.m. Friday will also have one at the same time as well. On Saturday, April 13th, you can catch the play at both 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. again. Tickets are free, and the event will be held at the Church Street Center Social Hall. That's it for this episode. To stay up to date with BWN, be sure to follow us on Twitter and our official Facebook page at facebook.com/MCLABWN. Thanks for watching, and have a great week.